Have you ever been on a date with a modern woman? You've only got to tell one joke they didn't find funny, have the wrong haircut, job, or car, and you're about to be a victim of text ghosting after she swiftly takes off and tells you she had a lovely time. What's interesting is that these women always say guys don't approach them because they're intimidated or scared. They completely fail to notice that it's their toxic personality that drives men away, and not some supposed intimidation. But noticing that would require some introspection, humility, and the sense of, I'm not perfect, I can be wrong, which these women just don't have. Of the many reasons women hate the manosphere, one of the lesser talked about ones is that we've destroyed their marketing campaign. Men were long under this misconception that women were these complex creatures shrouded in mystique. But the reality is, women are not complex at all. They're just inconsistent and insecure, and expect men to do all the hard work for them. Men have to approach, make all the plans, pay for everything, and expect nothing in return. Women say, men are paying for the lady's company and shouldn't expect anything more. If women did everything and paid for everything and all the man had to do was show up, would women be satisfied to pay for the man's company? I learned a long time ago that it's better to be single as a man than in a relationship because women offer nothing as far as relationships. They cause more harm than good and aren't worth the effort of getting to know them because most women are very manipulative. And honestly, I don't want that in my life. I rather live alone than live with a self-centered woman that doesn't actually care about me outside of money. Women are just not happy with anything and never will be. Women who celebrate shattering social norms are not vilified or looked down upon by society. It's a red flag when a woman keeps begging a man for a commitment and wants to move in together too quickly. Also, the majority of women cannot handle rejection because it will bruise their egos for a long time. And the game has reversed, ladies, so y'all have to pursue us men now and prove yourselves to us, especially decent men, that you're valuable. Plus, most women tend to perform fake intimacy after their low-key promiscuous past and messing around with and having dysfunctional intimacy with multiple women. Also wouldn't be surprised with a huge group at the same time, and fake very well. Jensen studies show that. These are the same women who say that mothers should teach their sons how to handle rejection. At the same time, you'll never hear these women telling moms to teach their daughters not to be manipulative. Also, it's not just rejection. Nowadays, it's false accusations. Women today brag about how they can destroy a man's life who simply says hello because he wasn't Chad or Tyrone and dared to exist in the same space. Unfortunately, most decent men nowadays don't want to be friends, speak, interact, or socialize with women in general. However, all women are not affected by this, and the vast majority of women can barely get resources from us men because they are now struggling financially and possibly destitution for a long period of time. Also, women cannot function or survive without men because they need attention and validation from men on a daily basis. The notion that 45 is the new 25 and that older women still look stunning is therefore consistently promoted as a valid societal narrative, among many others. Since helping these people would soon deplete Social Security and other programs, the government does not want to do so. Then, given that there are more women than men in the United States, if elder women find themselves in a situation where they are single and in need of a man's support, they will work together to convince men to assist them. Then, what do? They spread propaganda about why they want to date younger women and blame guys for wanting to do so. On the other hand, if a woman chooses to date a younger guy or even a man 20 years older than her, she will be praised and hailed as a hero for wanting to live her life according to her own convictions. People are generally aware that a woman will need to depend on someone for financial assistance for the remainder of her life, unless she is wealthy or financially successful, due to her work or maybe her inheritance. As women grow old, they require men's help in every way. Women have never been able to survive without a man's assistance throughout our history, despite the fact that some may reject this and will continue to do so. An elderly guy will still be able to care for himself by getting back up on his feet and roughing it. Can a woman accomplish that? In my opinion, no. They need constant care, attention, validation, and a sense of security and support to live a peaceful life. Otherwise, They become bitter and hard to be around when they're old and single. Husbands typically pass away before their spouses. It also makes sense why the man would wish to end his life early if you give it some thought. However, a leftover woman might look rather wonderful for her age due to the wonders of modern science. They keep at it, trying to look younger, trying to be someone they're not, and trying to act independently when they know they can't live completely independent lives all by themselves. The problem is when pointing these things out, they're labeled as insecure or controlling. But when women realize that they can't be independent anymore and seek guys to date them and can't find them, then they expect men just to enter their lives and provide them with anything and everything they want. Another point to note is that men are constantly facing mind games to prove their worth to women just so they can take a ride with successful men and then dump them off for another. However, there are men who understand this, but most don't. Men who go abroad seem to have a better chance of winning this game because financially unstable women don't have the luxury to play these games. It's very important to understand that women in foreign countries aren't playing these games as much because their circumstances don't allow them to. The moment they're in a developed country, their thinking starts to change. Just be warned. What's clear to me is that Western society is lost and confused. The family unit has been destroyed because there's no concept of a family left anymore. I mean, Canada has a divorce rate of around 60%. I don't blame the men and women for this. I blame our society and the lack of a family culture. Western men and women are more desirable around the world, not only because of the better economic conditions that they live in, but also because of the color of their skin, which is more desirable in most parts of the globe. From South America and Africa to Southeast Asia and the Middle East, people like Western men and women because white skin is prized above brown or black skin. That's just a harsh reality we have to agree to disagree with, I guess. But you can't blame either side because part of the reason this is our history and especially popular culture and media narratives, which have always shown white people to be heroes and people from other cultures, countries, and backgrounds to be villains. It really makes you wonder if women get off on rejecting men. Here is a novel idea. Since the current age has basically made it so that men are put up in front of a firing squad for even flirting with a woman, depending on her mood, of course. It's actually more reasonable if a woman is attracted to or interested in a guy. How about she just walks up and tells him? A man can just dress comfortably in jeans and his favorite t-shirt, and then maybe women won't want to be seen anywhere around him and will naturally avoid him. The perfect formula for living a full drama-free life of peace and quiet, and all the time in the world to focus on his mission and being his absolute best. No matter how many times women take you on a guilt trip because they didn't get their validation, let the women know what they are doing wrong and need to correct their behavior. These narcissists will not take accountability. It's like talking to a brick with hair. The true trophy woman is the one who builds a life alongside her husband, not the ones who sit at the finish line picking the winners they want. Useless and lazy, not to mention entitled and delusional. There is nothing but risk for a man to approach women in public. The odds of being posted online and being called a creep or falsely accused are much greater than a good conversation resulting in getting her number. Women made it this way, so this is where we are now, because as a man, saying anything to women in public could cost you your life these days. And trust me, it's not that guys fear rejection. It's just that most know it's coming. So what is the point? One of the most basic RP truths is that it isn't the thing the guy does, it is the guy who does the thing. If you aren't the guy, the thing doesn't matter. It's always been that way, but these days, there can be some real consequences to trying the thing and finding out you are not the guy. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support.